It's another day of Vlogmas! Alright, today's Vlogmas is gonna be a little bit different. I feel like this is a good time of year to really look back at the entire year from January to now and see what were my goals and what got in the way. And spoiler alert, I got in the way of everything of myself. I think it's really important to look back at the entire year and see kind of where maybe I played it safe, where I fell back into old patterns or ways, and try to figure out, okay, how can I make things better next year? And that's not to say that this year was a bad year. In fact, it was an amazing year. And honestly, I took a pretty big leap taking my art full time. So there were definitely really amazing big things that I did, or accomplishments or exciting moments. There were also moments that I can look back on now that I'm on the other side of it and realize, oh, okay, I had a setback there, or oh, I was kind of falling into like an old habit there, or I was self-sabotaging in that moment. So we're gonna look at those moments and we're gonna try to learn from that today. Now, before I start getting into my list, I will say this. While I am saying like these are the things I would have done differently, I know that they needed to happen this year for me to be able to learn. I also know that I'm the one that got in my own way, and I'm the one that didn't take a chance. I didn't take that opportunity there, held back in that area or in that place. All right, let's get started. The number one thing that I wrote down, the first thing that came to my head when I thought, what would I have done differently in 2024? Stop comparing myself to others, other artists, other business owners, other creative people. Even when it's somebody that's not going down the creative path, I compare myself to them. And I've really started to notice that I've just slowly through the years chipped away and become smaller and started to feel less than and not as good. And then all of a sudden I have like shrunk down to here and I'm like, I can't see anything, you know? I woke up the other night, it was before we flew out to Kansas City. I was trying to really plan out all of the shots that I wanted to get for my Kansas City Vlogmas episode. So I was laying there in bed trying to like plan out my Vlogmas, but I was starting to notice that I was trying to figure out, okay, what would this person do? I don't know if y'all have ever watched Catnip on YouTube. Amazing artist, amazing business owner. She is so inspirational for me. Like, I look up to her so much, and she really inspires me when it comes to her art, the way that she runs her business, and the way she goes about things in life. And she's really big on travel, and she's actually got a whole travel channel. I was literally laying there in bed trying to plan out what shots would she get for her travel vlogs? What imagery would she get for her videos? And then it all of a sudden hit me. While I'm planning out my own video for my channel, why am I asking, well, what would somebody else do? I can look up to her for inspiration and get me thinking about other things that I could do, get creative inspiration from her. I can get inspiration, but I shouldn't be asking, well, what would she do? Instead, I should be asking myself, what would I do? And what would the successful future me have done? That's when I realized, like, I think for a long time now, when I have questioned things or needed to make a decision, I've been asking, well, how would this other person do it? And that's not a bad thing. It's not. But there is such a fine line between getting inspired and suddenly comparing yourself and falling into the hole of, I'm not as good as them. I am not saying don't get inspired by other people or don't look up to other people and hope to be at that point one day. Don't grip onto others so hard that you forget what it is and what it's like to just be yourself. Now here's something that's a little more of like a tangible, like more so physical thing rather than like a thoughtful kind of thing, okay? I definitely would have figured out my sizing and my printing process beforehand. I opened my shop in January and I didn't figure out the right way to print things until August. I can't even, like, I should show you this. Look at this. This isn't gonna look that much, but I promise you it is. Like, just never ending tests. Number one, I hadn't figured out the proper way to print things beforehand. And number two, just like we had talked about before, you know, comparing ourselves to others, I was doing what I saw every other artist do, and I was printing from Photoshop. So if I could do all that over again, I would have printed from the Canon software from the start and not even messed or touched Photoshop. I use Photoshop for other things, but for printing, no, not for me. Not for me, and that's totally fine. I don't have to do what everybody else does. That's perfectly fine. If you have a Canon printer and it came with some Canon printing software, I highly suggest that you use it. Love you, Canon. Not sponsored, but if you want to, go for it. And then yeah, also sizing. I kept biting myself in the butt. Biting myself in the butt? Like, is that like a saying, or did I put two sayings together? Well, we're gonna say it today. I've been biting myself in the butt since the beginning. If I could do that over again, I would have figured out exactly, okay, what sizes do I want to offer? Let me create a canvas size in Procreate that matches exactly what size of paper am I printing on and what size artwork is this going to be cut to. I'll try to make this short and sweet because I know I am. I think we're all sick of hearing about the algorithm, okay? We're all sick of hearing about, oh, it's gonna change, or it changed and, you know, now like everything's terrible on Instagram. I know. You know how I know? Because my Instagram has just, it was just so stupid, okay? Instagram is stupid and I'm sick of it. I really am. I would say in October, I really started posting more because I wanted to post for me so that I could see my feed building up with my work. And I almost looked at it as a time capsule. It was more so, I wanna post this so that a year from now, I can look back on my Instagram feed and remember, oh yeah, I forgot, like I drew that month and I was really, you know, I loved that drawing that I made, or oh, I forgot my hair looked like that in October. It's almost like I look at it as a photo album that I can look back on and remember where I was at that time in my life or in that moment, and what I was doing and the things that I was creating. My goal this coming year, 2025, is to really focus on YouTube. And that's what I've been doing for the past few months, and I've started to notice how much better it makes me feel posting on YouTube than posting on Instagram. Now again, like ever since I kind of changed my mindset around why I post on Instagram, that hasn't really been bringing me down as much, but I do notice a huge difference between the way I feel and how much I want to post on YouTube versus on Instagram. Here's another little tangible tip. This could be something that this time next year I'll actually be glad that I did it. My shop was originally on Wix because I've always used Wix anytime I tried making a website. So I had made my shop originally on Wix. I think it was a little after my witch collection came out that I got the email saying like, you know, you're gonna need to renew soon, it's gonna expire soon. And I had been wondering or questioning for a while, well, should I switch over to Shopify? You know, I've heard a lot of really great things about it and the way that Shopify integrates into other platforms. It was easier to link things in my Instagram, and I could have an Instagram post that you know, had the little shop now, and it would direct you straight over to Shopify. Same with YouTube. I could connect my Shopify to YouTube, and that if there were any prints or products that I talked about in a video, I could link everything, and then if you looked over to the side of the video, it would have all the products listed and you could purchase from there. I think maybe that was a bit too early, but also as I'm saying that, I'm like, no, it happened for a reason, so there must be a reason that like I needed to switch over to Shopify. But here are the reasons that I feel like I did it a little too early. The biggest selling point for me moving over to Shopify was the integration into other platforms, into my Instagram, into my YouTube, especially when it came to YouTube. What I didn't realize is that on YouTube, I needed to have a certain number of subscribers and views on my channel before I could unlock the ability to connect my shop and have links to my items on my YouTube, like on my videos. Once I realized that I wasn't able to unlock that feature yet, it was like, okay, the biggest selling point for me, and now I can't even do it yet. Maybe I leapt a little too early, but honestly, I think this is one of those things that only time will tell. I guess we shall see. But I will say, I think Shopify was kind of always like where I knew I would end up going at some point and where I would land eventually. So it's kind of nice knowing I already did it. I'm also really, really bad about, I feel like I have to know all of the answers and all of the details of everything. I need to be able to see the end result and every step along the way to get to that end result before I can take even my first step. And that has stopped me from so many things. Like, I don't even think I can list off everything that has stopped me from doing. You don't need to have a super clear vision of the end result or every single step leading up to it to get started. In fact, usually it's when you start and you take the first step and then the second step. That's when you start to actually be able to figure out, that's where I'm going. That's what I need to do. Think of it this way, okay? Visualize this. There's a closed door way up there, and you can't see any stairs leading up to it at all. It's just a closed door that you know you're supposed to go through. You know you're meant to go through that door, but it's closed, so you can't see what's on the other side of the door. And there's also no stairs to take you up there. What you've got to do is you've got to make the motion. And as soon as you put your foot here, boom, a step appears. And then you make the motion with your other foot, and boom, your foot lands on another step that it wasn't there before, but because you were in motion, the step appeared. Do you see what I'm saying? Don't worry about, being able to see those steps or being able to see that picture clearly. Just go. Basically, just as simple terms, just go. And then the last point I'm gonna make for you guys, don't expect instant gratification. If it's not an instant success story, it does not mean that it's not gonna be successful. It just means that you're given time to build the foundation within you to hold the weight of the success that's coming. And each level, you're given time and given a moment to breathe and say, okay, this is what I need to do to hold the weight of this success. And then you level up. Okay, this is what I have to do to hold the weight of this much success. And every little bit is success. You have 2 subscribers on YouTube, that is a success. You have 10 subscribers. You've got 90 followers on Instagram, that's a success. It's not that once you hit 100,000 or once you get this much money or whatever, that means, okay, now you're successful. No, as long as you're going and you're trying, that's what makes you successful. I don't know if any of you really needed to hear that. I know this is a very different video than what I've been doing for my Vlogmases. And also, if you're watching this like in June of 2025, I keep saying Vlogmas because I'm filming this in December and I have been doing Vlogmas all year, so if you're feeling really Christmassy and you want to have some Christmas in July, June, summertime, whatever, you can go check out all my Vlogmases from 2024. I'll put it somewhere. Otherwise, if you're seeing this video, maybe it's because the universe was like, yo, you need to see this because there are some things that you need to know, or you know, you need to know like you're not alone and there's other people dealing with the same thoughts, the same struggles, the same, you know, comparing and blah, blah, blah. So I really do hope that this video helped somebody. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Love ya.